anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk. On the morning shift, I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you today on the 16th of August. It is Tuesday, 2022. And going to have a good show today. There's lots of news going on. And yeah, so it's we're on CKLU 96.7 FM. We're on line at cklu.ca. Just click on that Radio Player Canada app logo. You can listen to us right there on the player, or you can download the app and listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device. And that's on CKLU, so that's live radio. We're also on Facebook Live, YouTube Live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. You can listen to us and watch us there. And you can comment, because this is basically your show. We're facilitating a community conversation around local news, events, issues, things like that, trying to keep us as a community informed. And yeah, and that's that. And now, keeping us informed and helping us do that in the studio today is Billy.
Morning.
Good morning, Billy. How you doing?
I've been a lot more informed since I've been with you here.
Yes, you have. Now, because you're the technical guy, there is a difference between the sound I had yesterday and the sound I have today. For some reason, I don't know what has changed, but something has changed in terms of the volume. The volume's not as high. And even when you're talking, it's only going half of what we wanted it to do. So I don't know.
I don't know. I'll just bring it up.
What it is, but I don't think I hit anything. Oh, there you go. Maybe.
Oh, that was it.
It was me, Billy. Somehow I did that. Somehow I did that.
That thing marked volume. When you bring that down, it goes down.
That thing where yeah, exactly. That fader, when you, bring it towards you, the sound goes down. And when you push it away from you, the sound goes up.
I learned that in my third year of audio school.
Yeah, you would have, because that would be Audio Basics 101, right? Anyways, well, why don't we get started today? Each day. Now, again, for some reason, the comments, I hope you feel free to comment, because we look forward to all your comments each and every day. I'm trying to get them up on my monitor, but for some reason today, we're a little extra slow. Not sure why. The internet is a little slower, but it is what it is. We'll have you up and running right after the weather, a little bit of news, headlines, and we'll be right into everything today. Be right back after this. So yeah, our weather today, Greater Sudbury, current conditions 14 degrees Celsius. The humidity is 42%, so not very humid today. Mainly cloudy, 30% chance of showers this afternoon. Risk of thunderstorm. Wind becoming east 20 kilometers late this afternoon. High of 24, but the humid index it will be 27, and the UV index will be 4 or moderate. Tonight, partly cloudy, 30% chance of showers. Early this evening with a risk of thunderstorm, low of 14. Wednesday, mix of sun and cloud, 40% chance of showers in the afternoon with a risk of thunderstorm. Hey, I thought when I gave this yesterday, we were totally sunny on Wednesday. But anyways, not going to complain. High of 25, it'll feel like 30. So a nice hot Wednesday if you like hot. It will be, again, 40% chance of showers Wednesday, but now it's pushing the sun into Thursday and Friday. But Thursday's a mix of sun and cloud, and we got our high of 25, and then Friday, sunny, high of 26. We'll look at the, we got the satellite there for you. Little look at what it looks like right now, currently in Sudbury. And we'll be back right after this with some news headlines and Billy's take on the news and what's going on in this great city of ours. And we're back. Say lots going on, lots to unpack today. There's some local news, but there's also some provincial news that I think will impact our city as well.
And some media news.
I think we want to talk about that.
Lisa LaFlamme. I saw that light up my Facebook last night.
Interesting, eh? That's very interesting. That's the first one I think I have that I shared here. So maybe let's just even start with that. Let me get the template up and running. So you got here, you click that, and then you're going to click this, that, this, and that. All right. So good to go. So Lisa LaFlamme, news anchor for CTV News, replaces by Omar Sakadina, I think is the name. I know the guy though, Omar. I've seen him many, many times reporting on CTV, so I know who he is.
I haven't seen much of like regular TV for a long time, so I don't. But she's only 58.
Yeah.
I thought I would have had more time to tell more of the stories that impact our daily lives as I've done for so many decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like she'd be out of the game though.
That early.
Well, I mean, she's got pretty awesome resume. Like I'm sure that's one of the top, jobs in that field. But
it is.
Seems like she's got a bright future still.
But what do you do after something like that? You can't go down. You can't be the top anchor and then become, the Washington guy or the Washington person or the international person. You can't go down from anchor to being a lower. It's like being a professor and then becoming an assistant professor in university. You can't be a professor and then become the professor's aide. You just don't do stuff like that.
I don't know.
She could go to another station.
Do that. She could go to another station.
CBC could pick her up. And then that's the end. Or she'd become a sports broadcaster anchor. Like you can only go laterally. You can't go down.
Well, a lot of people do. And they
go
survive.
Down?
Sure.
In the news world, you've ever seen an anchor ever just go back to being a reporter?
Well, I don't know about
ever
the news world.
In the history of news?
I bet you I could find something.
Like Walter Cronkite will be the war correspondent, or like the guy who does the financial segment.
Yeah. Well, Larry King, he had he was king of CNN for a while, and then he's got a podcast now.
Well, he was a talk show host. He wasn't a anchor. Just for
that's a little different.
Yeah, a little bit different. So that's interesting stuff. And why? Does it give any reasons for it at all? As to why she was let go? I think she's
change of direction. Is that what they
change of direction? That's the only reason they gave. A change of direction. Isn't that just kind of elusive and obscure?
It is. Obviously, there's something more to it, and either it just doesn't translate well for PR, or who knows. But I think there's probably some stuff you'd have to be like very close to the story, in on some very private meetings to get the real story.
Well, Monique says there's something wrong with this picture. So she smells something. And I agree with that. I think it's just weird when you just let someone go with no explanation. They're just going in a different direction. Did she say something wrong? Did she not do something They don't want to go there. This is the top job. This is like a CEO of a company almost, with no reason. Oh, we're just changing lanes. Just figured it was time for a change. Prime Minister of Canada, yeah, not waiting for election. We just thought it'd be better to have someone else in there. Imagine they told the Canadian public that. Yeah, we just thought, for a change, we just switch up the Prime Minister a bit.
Yeah, like I said.
I don't know. It's just weird. No reason.
It's weird.
But anyways, that's just...
People should ponder it.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, that's them. It's Bell Media. And people have been letting, just let go for a while now. It's a kind of the culture that we got going on. You just let go one day. Okay, bye. It's like, what? What did I do? What did I say? Oh, we're just thinking, the kind of suits you were wearing didn't really match the office decor quite the way it used to.
It's not you. It's us.
Okay, yeah, it's not you. Look, it's just not working out. Okay. It's like, okay, what's not working out though? So Brandon Connor went from being, a national sportscaster in TSN to news anchor in Sudbury. Okay. But at the same time, that's still a step up in some ways, because a news anchor is one of those holy grail positions to be a news anchor. And that's why I said Lisa LaFlamme could possibly go to a sports network and be like an on-air personality there. And it would be considered, well, as long as she's one of the main ones, it's not really a demotion. They have to watch the PR of all that stuff.
Career isn't everything. If you watch those romantic comedies about people moving out to a small town, they go from their big job, and I think as a what do they call those TV anchors? And then they become a local one, and they kind of have a nice life now. It's like a small town community. So there's that angle.
And Miles, I want to give an LOL to Miles here, because I said, but it's an anchor job. So it's not really a demotion for the person to leave TSN and come to Sudbury to be the anchor. And he said, but not in Sudbury, an anchor job. Kind of like, it's not really a prestigious thing to be an anchor. But I think, no, I'll have to disagree with Miles on that one. If you can say you're an anchor anywhere on a resume, I've been an anchor, I am an anchor, that is something in that world. It's like each institution has their own things. Universities have their own colleges, the hospitals, the education system. I've been a principal. That carries weight in the education system. I'm a professor at a prestigious university. That carries weight. Like, what did you have to do to get to be a professor, not only at a small university, but again, you say professor at a university, that carries a lot of weight. It's a little bit up if you're at a prestigious university, but they're all the same in terms of my colleague. My colleague is a professor. You can say that even if you're not even if you're at Laurentian, it carries some weight. The anchor position does as well. But Miles says, I think Brandon just wanted to come home. Okay, Exactly. There you go. But Lisa LaFlamme is a little different story there. I don't think she's going home or anything like that. It's not her choice here. At least it was Brandon's choice, it looks like, right? Yeah. So she's worked for CTVs for 35 years. And she gets the golden handshake. That's what they refer to that, right? When you get the golden handshake?
Well,
ready to retire? And
I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with golden parachute.
Okay.
Golden handshake, sure.
We'll go with that.
Coined here.
Yeah. You heard it here first or not. So I don't know. I like Lisa LaFlamme as an anchor. I thought she did a great job. Nothing I've seen that would have, led to her being let go for any reason. Maybe if I thought, well, she wasn't really good at what she did or something, or I don't know, for some reason, there's nothing I could find. So there must be something behind the scenes. Anyways, they're just going for a little change of They just needed to change at CTV. I guess.
Well,
that's the reason.
I'm not going to assume that, but
Well, isn't that what they said? They're just going to change a direction? Wasn't that the wording from CTV?
that's right. And
Yeah,
you're
taking a change of direction.
Yeah.
The direction means you're not in the direction. So
Are we still a culture that takes the news at face value still?
no, I'm not.
Didn't
No,
think
I don't
so.
think we are. Not our watchers or listeners anyways. I don't think. From the comments that we see. Yes, Lloyd Robertson is still alive. Oh, Miles. Lloyd Robertson. He retired, though. He wasn't just let go because they're going to change of direction. I do have to say, because I have to, every time I remember it, just do it. The views on this show do not necessarily reflect those of Laurentian University or that of CKLU. Okay. Now, keeping with the news and things that aren't, Sudbury related per se, but have an impact, like Lisa LaFlamme's not a Sudbury story, but I thought, many of us do watch the news. Even I watch the news. I watch it very critically, but I still watch it, keep my finger on the pulse because I have to. And that affects people here, the main anchor of one of our main news outlets. Now, here's one that doesn't right away affect our community, but will
have an impact.
Will have an impact for sure. And that's the strong mayor powers to be extended to more Ontario cities, Ford says.
To build more housing, sounds like.
Oh, Billy got the bait there.
Yeah, other
He
than
got the
Toronto
bait.
and Ottawa as a way to get more housing built.
Oh, there you go. So is that the reason we need to
here's
give
the
mayors
question.
more power?
Is it better to centralize power or decentralize power? And which is this?
Yeah, see, that's the question. Well, let's just kind of unpack how politics works now in general then. So they want to give the mayors more power in cities. And now let's see the reasoning. Now let's read this article a bit and see the reasoning. So Billy picked up on the first thing, because they want to build more housing. They always have to have a benefit to you why they want to make such a drastic legal change or political change other than what's going on currently. So they can't just make a change and go, we need mayors to have more power, end of story. You got to have a reason for people to buy in. Well, there is a housing crisis, and we've been talking about this at length on the show for a long time. And we need housing. There's a lot of people without a home. It's a real issue. So they're taking a real thing that everybody is aware of and wants and saying, we need to give mayors more power so we can do this thing that everyone wants. It can't get done without it. All right. So now let's read a little bit more into it. So Ontario Premier Doug Ford said Monday he's planning to expand the so-called strong mayor powers to municipalities other than Toronto and Ottawa, which currently that's the two cities they're mainly focused in bringing this new legislation in. Municipal Affairs and Housing Minister Steve Clark introduced the legislation last week that would give the mayors in Ontario's two largest cities veto powers over bylaws that conflict with provincial priorities. Bingo! So let's just look at that one again. They introduced the new legislation to give the Ontario's two largest cities veto powers over bylaws, municipal laws, city laws that conflict with provincial priorities, such as building housing.
Isn't that your main beef, though? That there's
such as building
all
housing.
these, all this red tape and bureaucracy, you know, and it's hampering the allowing of things to get done.
It is.
So isn't this right up your alley? Like,
no, it's like saying you're starving, right? So here's some gasoline to drink. Oh yeah, I'm starving. Here's a solution. Gasoline It'll help you. And that's a really bad kind of metaphor or whatever, or example. But the solution, a wrong solution doesn't mean that's, make a wrong a right with a wrong solution. Giving the mayors veto power over any, autonomy a city has or whatever, the city should be able to make their own decisions, and the province should just kind of be there to support the city, and the federal government should just be there to support the province. But you got the federal government wanting to control the province and the province wanting to control the municipalities. It's a human nature thing that laws are supposed to protect us from ourselves, right? If I'm really mad at Billy and I want to kind of harm him in a really fatal way because he's in the way of everything I've ever wanted in my life, the laws are supposed to stop me from taking that base emotion that I have to harm him. So in the same ways, we have laws that are supposed to protect us from ourselves. Now, look at the wording of that again. So the housing minister, now they use the housing minister to do this because that's the main thing that people are going to want, housing. So they get the housing minister to propose the bill because anyone can propose a bill or a legislation, anyone can bring it to, but they use the housing. So that's the main story. We need housing built, and the cities are stopping, which I do agree with. The cities are kind of stopping progression. Look, we can't build an arena. We're building things we don't need. There's some weird stuff. However, the housing minister comes forward with this new legislation that doesn't just give the municipality, it doesn't just give mayors the ability to veto anything to do with housing. Now that would be different. If all they can do is veto something to do with housing, and that's it, and that was all the powers they're going to have, well, then I wouldn't smell a rat. I'd say, okay, well, now they are making a legislation for exactly what they're saying they're doing it for. But no, this is the sneaky Trojan horse kind of idea. We're using housing, something everyone can get on board with, to give the mayors veto power for what? Over bylaws that conflict with provincial priorities, such as building housing. That's one of the things. Only one. What are the other things it could possibly be? Let's see if this reporter did the homework. What are some of the other possibilities that American veto that could be a provincial priority that may not be in the best interest of a city, possibly? Let's look at that. That's what a reporter could do, possibly, and say, yeah, well, what are some of the not so good things that could happen? Do I make a point or not?
Possibly. Where do you see that it was going to be more than the housing issue?
So it says, speaking at the Association of Municipalities Ontario annual conference in Ottawa, Ford said the legislation will provide those mayors with additional tools to advance those provincial priorities, not to advance housing to be built, and that's it. But goes on to say building more homes is at the top of the list. There's a list. What are the other things on the list? If my wife says,
appreciate your skepticism.
We need broccoli. We need broccoli. Okay. It's on the top of the list. You're going to the grocery store for me. Okay. What does that say to me then? I'm only going to get broccoli? But it doesn't say what else is on the list. It doesn't say milk and cheese and
right. So where do you think it's going to go? What's next on the list in your mind?
Whatever they have on whatever. This is the thing now in the future. Who knows? The province could say we want everyone to wear yellow pajamas every day. And that's on the top of their priority list for some reason. All cities, now the mayor goes, I decree in the city of Greater Sudbury, by virtue of the province of Ontario, everyone must wear yellow pajamas.
Well, here's an interesting line too. A council could override the mayor's veto with a 2/3 majority vote.
Well, okay.
So 2/3 of it think it's a bad idea, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we all seen this in Sudbury too, right? Unanimously vote down the KED. They unanimously did that. Even though 2 were against it, they still unanimously voted it down.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Oh no, what is it? The library, maybe. They unanimously voted for the library, even though 2 people didn't agree with some of the stuff. Anyways,
I mean, the
I'm
other
a little
side of
foggy
it,
on that one.
yeah, is I think there is a lot of systematic, built into the system that just kind of, can't think of the word, but basically quagmires everything. So I can appreciate, we'll see how this goes, but.
Well, the legislation would also give the mayors the responsibility for preparing and tabling their city's budget instead of the council. So the mayor goes, okay, I got the budget ready and this is what's going to happen. Well, now the council has to vote on it. Well, we only got so much money, the mayor's told us, to work with. It's like in your family, if the main breadwinner or together the breadwinners bring in so much money, you only have so much money. That's the budget. It sets the parameters. So if the mayor now is in charge of the budget and setting those parameters, council can only work within that. So again, it's a lot less responsibility and power in the democracy of the council voting than there used to be by this one, legislation coming in, giving the mayor more power. Mm-hmm. But again, I know that you made the argument a few times about the benevolent king idea. However, if there's...
Who, me?
I thought so. I thought we discussed, the idea that... No, we discussed it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's your idea. But my big point is that, I think there's a balance between if you have this, if you don't have... What's the best way to say it? Yeah. Maybe you could use the idea of the benevolent king. When you have somebody who can make decisions and take action, if you always have a system where it's, completely, anybody can veto anything and everybody sort of puts in their say and they say, no, I want to use it for this and nothing ever gets done. You got to find that, somewhere in the spectrum where if things aren't getting done, it might be too far in that direction where it's too bogged down. There's, too many people trying to make the decisions. And now, at least with the whole idea of a mayor is to give them some power because people are going to vote in that person. That's really what they vote when they vote in an election. Probably more so than the other things. So I don't know. I'm curious to see. I appreciate your, especially in today's environment when that is definitely a real thing, doing sleight of hand, a good reason to find out there's an underlying reason beneath that. But
yeah. Well, look at this. Toronto Mayor John Tory supports the idea. Well, that's an epiphany.
Yeah.
Wow, a mayor supports it. I wonder why. Why would a mayor support this thing?
Maybe it's a good idea.
Though the current outgoing mayor of Ottawa doesn't.
All right.
The outgoing mayor doesn't. He's not going to be there anymore. And neither do 2 contenders to replace him. Oh, that's interesting. The mayors of other large cities have expressed interest in such powers. Well, I bet they would. A report released Monday by Smart Prosperity Institute, a University of Ottawa-based think tank, found that the housing needs of the Peel region in the next 10 years will be higher than all other areas. So again, they're going back to the housing argument to show there's studies done about housing and make it more about housing than about more mayoral powers kind of thing.
And the thing with housing, we might have touched on this before too, where then I think Zach gets into this where it's like when you're wealthy and you have a housing shortage, you do quite well because your housing goes up, your all your investments and stuff. And, it sometimes you take, it takes an initiative like this to basically, break up that racket to some degree, open things up. It's going to lower the price of housing, but again, it's going to give more people housing. So I'm just, I entertain the non-nefarious aspects of why they might be doing this.
Have we been able to build housing before the mayors became king of the municipalities? Were we able to do it before?
I don't know the housing situation, but it seems like there's an issue with getting it developed.
I know. Well, there's an issue with getting anything developed in this city. I didn't know that these other regions were having similar problems, but
this may be a solution.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go. So it does look like it's a little political here, and I'm glad Miles brought that up because it says it's funny that the Toronto mayor is a conservative and the Ottawa is liberal. So yeah, it is true. Like you don't want to be seen publicly supporting something that's brought forward by the other party, regardless, even if you wanted it or not. And that's where the NDP, interim NDP leader, Peter Tabbins, when speaking with at the AMO conference, criticized the strong mayoral proposal. When it comes to housing and other priorities, it misses the target by a country mile, he said. It won't build a single home. It won't solve the infrastructure deficit you are all facing. It won't fund your transit systems, and it won't fund your public health units. So anyways, this is going to be an ongoing thing. I mean, looks like we have an election, right around the corner here in the city, and also the province more than likely is going to go ahead with this, giving not only Ottawa and Toronto's mayors more powers or more tools, as Doug Ford says, tools in the toolbox for them. I wonder what other tools there are. But anyways, it's change is on the horizon. We are moving more and more, whether you're conservative or you're liberal or you're NDP, whatever it is. We have a global movement, and this is all part of a global movement. I'd like to see if they talk about other jurisdictions in other countries, let's say, or even in Canada, that have gone this route already. They never mentioned that. They never said, in this state or this country, they've done this with their municipalities and it's worked out really well because of this. Studies, not only housing studies, but giving mayors more power studies, how it's kind of done a lot better for communities would be more of what I would be looking for out of this story. Of course, we need housing. That's a no-brainer. And is that the solution, though? Giving mayors more power for everything, not just for housing. Maybe that would be a solution. Just give them more powers to make over the poor people's issue, over people that are vulnerable and things like that, to get things moving, but not over every single aspect of a community. I don't know. Is that possible? If it's possible to give them more powers, period, why couldn't they give them more powers in only certain circumstances?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we talk about that quite a bit, that the mayor only gets one vote, and the mayor has quite a lack of power in terms of being called a mayor. So I don't know. Is this going to offset that, balance it out, or is it going to be a
But why is it a problem
lead to something
now?
detrimental?
Why is it a problem now? Why has it never been a problem before?
Well, I think it has been a problem before.
Has it?
But I think issues we need probably democracy more than ever, where I think people just kind of let the people run the show. Now I think it's kind of important for people to keep an eye of what's going on, and they're going to be able to want to make some of the things that the public requires to have it be implemented, instead of just kind of waiting 4 years and it's like, got failed again. We'll try a different person.
Monique agrees with you. Says it makes the mayors more responsible for their failures.
Yeah.
So
Could do that, eh?
well, yeah, if they come out like you're saying, if this goes ahead and they do have more power, and they make a promise and it doesn't come true, like it's a little more. They can't just say, "Well, I only had one vote anymore." That is one good side to it for sure. It's a good point for sure. Yeah, so that was a great conversation, and I don't think the last one we're going to have on that subject either.
That one's gotta get to the bottom of that one for sure, because that's a big change if that's going across the land.
Now, if you're a fan of communism, I'm not sure. Some people are, and it's moving more and more towards that, globally, federally, provincially, and now municipality. For our municipality, any changes in the way you do government, you just have to look at what kind of ideology it's going towards, or what kind of governing style. And the more power you put in one person's hand, the more, or one entity's hands, it gets more and more towards a communistic kind of leaning. Now, again, I have a lot of friends that are even happy that it would go that way. They that's pretty much in line with where they want society to go, and that's fine. Again, but just calling it what it is what we should be doing, right? And that is in essence that's the more kind of side we're going on. So that way the top says something and it can go all the way to the bottom really quickly. You don't have to it doesn't get stuck anywhere. Any kind of proposal or legislation or idea that wants to come all the way from the top all the way down can get there without any opposition kind of thing. So speaking of other countries, and here we have Sudbury.com, right? Welcomes the 28th family from Ukraine.
That's a lot of families in Sudbury. I was more than I was aware of.
Grateful is the word that Sudbury MP Viviane Lapointe said she's heard from most of the families Sudbury's welcomed from Ukraine. And that is, and I definitely can see why that is. I mean, coming from a war-torn country to here is, and Miles does say, just to go back again, the more like a dictatorship or authoritarianism than communism. But I was making the point that this doesn't just put one man, like the mayor isn't going to be, like he's taking orders from the province, right? It allows the province to get their priorities done. That's what the province was saying. So that's more communistic. It doesn't really like, hey, one man is a dictator, but it's to allow the priorities of the province to be done in the communities. So that's more communism, putting more power where the government itself can just get things done through the mayor locally with feet on the ground. But yeah, you're right. This kind of thing is, it's a whole education in and of itself is governing and what it's called and the definitions and how it rolls out. But yeah, so go ahead, Billy. Sorry about that.
Anyway, yeah, that's two organizations are also working with the families, including YMCA Newcomer Services and Collège Boreal Settlement Services.
Cool.
Both with specialize in providing settlement services to assist families in establishing themselves into the community. Yeah. So, and it's families are arriving here with little more than a small suitcase. In some cases, many of them from war-ravaged areas of the Ukraine.
Yeah. You know, it would be great to have some of the people coming over on the show.
Yeah, because I'd be
firsthand
very curious to see the stories and hear them,
firsthand, just to see. Tell us a little bit more about your experiences and things like that.
Yeah, and then I'm not too sure if this is next. Shriners donate $10,000 for Sudbury Hospice pediatric care.
Yeah, that is next.
That's
awesome.
Awesome. They do that quite often too, I think. Seems like
they do.
Fairly regular kind of headline.
So just so people are aware, the Shriners are basically the group that does service and fundraising and community engagement. So the Shriners are a division of the Masons, which is their charitable kind of branch. They have hospitals, and in the communities they don't have hospitals in, they donate to the existing hospitals that already are in those communities. So that is one of their main priorities, to help out the healthcare system, and usually to do with children to a large extent. Shriners Children's Hospitals, I know there's quite a few of them. Oh, they specialize, those Shriners specific specialty hospital. But here they're donating to the hospice and pediatric care. So I was right. Pediatric children.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
That is. So great work going on in the community. Faith in humanity still continues. We have so many people doing good. I know I sound like a crotchety old man sometimes complaining. But no, there's a lot of good stuff going on.
No, we need that. we need that discerning eye for looking for the rat.
I guess so. But I like just kind of laying back and just doing good and letting good happen and talking about good things too is just as important, because, as much bad things that are going on in the world, I think more good things are going on. I think it's kind of like if you had really good internet, someone like you tried out a new company and you had really good internet, would you call that company up and say, I just wanted to say thank you for the good internet you just installed? Now that we have social media and whatever, they say, oh, can you put a comment? And a lot of people say, oh, I love my new internet. But I don't think we're calling them and telling them. I don't think that's something. But if there's a problem, who's the first person that's getting a call,
Yeah.
And we'll complain.
Speaking of the internet, I think the story of Buddha that, he just lived in his castle or whatever, and he thought the world was great and very smooth. And then one day went for a walk outside and he saw, oh my God, there's a lot of people. They don't have it as good as I do. They're suffering. So the internet's kind of like that, right? This whole communication age where it's like the stuff that's been going on, we've had very limited exposure to it. Whereas now we're seeing it.
Exactly.
So this is, that's like step one in addressing it. So I think a lot of this, the world kind of enraged at certain things right now is this viewing things, and this desire is being evoked to fix it up.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's just as much as there's people that have agendas and want things to happen in a darker way. There are just as many, if not more, people working together to see each other's plight, put ourselves in other people's shoes. And once we see what they're going through, try and understand it and reach out and help. I think that's a human nature thing to do as well. And what's not so great is we talked yesterday about the murder that took place on Spruce.
Bad segue. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that wasn't a good segue. All the good things going on in the world. Yeah. Back to some bad things. Sorry about that. Murder suspect to undergo a mental health assessment. He's charged with first-degree murder and a woman's death. While Greater Sudbury Police released a few details about a homicide on Spruce Street Thursday morning, the man charged in the case is headed to North Bay for a mental health assessment.
Is that standard if you're charged with murder?
I don't know.
It seems like it would be fairly common.
Yeah, you would think so, especially, such a brutal thing as that. You would want to see maybe if there was reasons for it other than maybe rage or whatever, things that could happen to anybody in a certain moment, but maybe there's underlying things that have led to it. But I don't know if that's a standard thing that everyone undergoes. Go ahead.
No, I was, I don't know. Is there any more to add about that?
I was just going to say the man's name is Hitinder Sharma. He's 34. And the woman that is deceased is assumed to be his spouse. It's believed to be his spouse, but I guess they don't know for sure. He had his case dealt with briefly in court on Monday. So a first-degree murder charge suggests to police believing that the killing was actually planned. So more to come on that one.
And right up your alley is former French River Rapids star returns as Memorial Cup champ. Have you talked about that, or is that a new thing?
That's a new thing. So a really interesting story. I read it, and it's really awesome. Phil Daou, he played for the French River Rapids. He was born in Barrie, but both of his parents' lineage came from French River, Noelville. And he decided to play his junior hockey there to be next and close to his grandparents at the time. And luckily he did, because his grandmother passed away shortly after. He was able to spend some quality time with his grandmother. Anyways, and then he went on to, he took a little bit of a different road. He didn't go the regular, OHL and NHL and whatever. He played his junior. He did go to the Sudbury Wolves camp, but chose to play somewhere else, just so that way he could play more, be the star of the team. A lot of times you go one league down, you're the number one player, but if you go one league up, you're like fourth line. So you get more ice time if you're maybe in a league that isn't as competitive or whatever. So that's what he chose. Eventually ended up being on Belleville, the Senators farm team of the AHL. Used to be the Belleville Bulls, remember, in the OHL. But now they're the Senators AHL farm team. So he's playing for them for a while. But then, in some kind of a deal, he was dealt to St. John's of the Canadian Hockey League, similar to OHL, but in the Quebec Hockey League, and became a star on their team and helped them. They went to the finals of the Quebec Hockey League, but lost. They were the favorites to win. But because they were the host team for the Memorial Cup, every year there's a host city for the Memorial Cup. And one of the cool things is the host team, no matter if they were the last place team in the whole Canadian Hockey League or not, get to play in the Memorial Cup, which is all the champions from each of the Canadian Hockey Leagues get to face off. So the Ontario Hockey League champion was the Hamilton Bulldogs. And they beat them in the championship game of the Memorial Cup and won the Memorial Cup. So here you have this kind of hometown, kind of unknown to anybody that, because he kind of took a path that he didn't get a lot of limelight in his career path, but he is drafted from the Ottawa Senators. He's going to be playing for them.
Cool.
So you will probably see him in the NHL at some point. So really great, feel-good story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did that. This would have been a better segue for our last talking about positive things.
Right, yeah.
But I can't help the way things are being shared.
That's right.
In the order they're shared in.
The randomness is kind of cool too.
There was a road closure. Yesterday there was an accident on Highway 69, but then it was opened again. So it shared that. It was a collision.
Yeah, and I thought I might be jumping a few here, but I just thought this was kind of important. Lactalis.
Yeah, it is. That's the one I wanted to end on.
Sudbury milk operation to plant-based production.
Yeah. So
dairy producer said it will cease milk productions due to unprofitability in fluid milk market.
Fluid, right?
Right.
So no pun intended there.
Get quite a bit of subsidies. I used to hear
from dairy.
Yeah. Do they not get the subsidies anymore? Maybe the article will say. You
know what? I think you're right. I think there's more of a push to plant-based anything these days. So I think subsidies from the old dairy kind of way the dairy, industry worked. I really feel that would have stopped, and this is why they're going the plant-based. So they were Parmalat before. So everyone's familiar with Parmalat, I would think, in this area, right?
I am.
And Miles only drinks almond milk now. So that's the thing, right? Trends are going away from the way things used to be with dairy. And a lot of people are lactose intolerant, right? We know people.
Yeah, not a fan myself.
Yeah, there you go. So formally, Parmalat is ceasing milk production at its Sudbury plant as of September 30th. The dairy producer said over the next few months, it will be converting the plant of Palm Dairy on Palm Dairy Road in the city's East End into a modern operation dedicated to growing its offering of plant-based products. So Lactalis is who bought Parmalat. Lactalis Canada said the decision to cease milk processing and packaging as a result of, quote, long-term volume decline and increased costs in the fluid milk market in Ontario that have led to a decreased profitability and economic sustainability of Lactalis Canada's fluid operations in Sudbury.
Yeah, that's
less people drinking.
That's in line with
milk.
what I'm seeing.
The company declined an interview request.
Company's plant-based products include sensational soy, Lactantia margarine, and Siggy's coconut-based yogurt alternative.
So is this what they're going to be producing here then? I'm not that familiar with all the plant-based.
Sounds like, yeah, I'm not too familiar with the.
So you got soy, which is plant-based, almonds, things like that, I guess. You know what I mean? Any alternative. I think even oatmeal, like oat milk, right? Oatmeal? Oat milk is a thing now?
It doesn't mention it here, but yeah, that probably is. Yeah.
A lot of people are trying out these days. It said it will retain a majority of the Sudbury workforce. Ooh. Again, wording. Good news. We're going to retain a majority of the Sudbury workforce. Meaning?
I guess mathematically, that's at least 50.1%.
Yes. So there's going to be some layoffs, it looks like here.
Yeah. Who knows? Could be close to the same.
Yeah.
We're speculating on that.
Would retain the majority of the Sudbury workforce during the transition with the intention of creating new jobs once the new production facility is in operation. So they're saying it might be just temporary. The refrigerated warehouse will remain in operation. In a statement, the company CEO Mark Taylor said milk processing from Sudbury will be transferred to their other plants in Ontario and Quebec. He said there will be no disruptions to service or supply. And that's for the old style, just cow's milk production.
Yeah, I guess with their regular line of products.
Well, our core business is dairy. As an innovation leader and as demonstrated by our forthcoming expansion into plant-based, we're constantly following the consumer and continually seeking opportunities to innovate and respond to the market. Well, it's interesting they picked Sudbury to do that in though, right? Like to change the plant here to be a little bit more innovative to what the market's going rather than keeping the old, dairy here and then doing the more innovative, forward-thinking, future plant somewhere else. So that, I guess, could be a positive because in the future, they're going to be doing more plant-based and they chose to do that here in Sudbury rather than somewhere else.
Yeah, it seems like Sudbury, I don't really know the ins and outs of it, but it seems kind of off the beaten path for, that a big city like Toronto or that area. I guess it's probably a lot more economical to do the processing, do the plant up here, and then ship it.
Yeah.
I guess when they crunch the numbers.
Well, exactly. They have to have a business case for it. The decision meaning, has to be fiscally responsible. And I guess just before we go today, one last story to cover would be there's a bit of a scam alert going on out there. I don't know if you've encountered any of this, Billy, or not, but it says police warn of a renewed bank scam activity.
It's a pretty brazen one.
I know. So the fraudster requests personal information, including PIN numbers and passwords, and tells the victim to leave their debit card and credit card in an envelope outside the front door for pickup and destruction. Oh my. I really hope nobody falls for that one. You don't fall for anyone calling you, asking you for your PIN numbers and to tell you to leave your credit card and your debit card outside your house in an envelope for pickup. Yeah, not a good thing. Don't do that. So
yeah, my heart goes out to those who fall for that.
Oh my, terrible. But again, right? And a lot of the people that these fraudsters are, preying on are seniors, and that's just not cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so thanks for listening, everyone watching, and we really appreciate you, all of the commenting that you do on the show. We really appreciate that. We really appreciate you just being here with us, liking and sharing the video and the page. Thank you so very much. One last comment from Lee. She says they're getting brave for home pickup now. Exactly. LOL. Well, thank you, Lise, for that comment, and all of you for commenting today. And thanks, Billy, for being on the show and being
pleasure.
part of this thing that we're doing here in the community. We really appreciate all of you and the opportunity to serve you. And with that, stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKL. You will be back same time, same place tomorrow. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.